What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be working on my 1993 Nissan 300ZX. It's a non-turbo 6-cylinder automatic, but best thing about this car is I got it for free. So I was going to this house to do a job, and I was coming down their mile-long driveway, and I saw this thing sitting off the side, sitting in the weeds. So I asked the guy what he was doing with it, and he said if I wanted it, I could have it. So I went back later that afternoon, and I brought my truck and trailer, loaded the thing up, and away I went with it. Car's got paperwork and everything. It's been sitting for about 10 years or so, he said, but it did run when it was parked. It's just something that he bought as a project and pretty much never got to it. So I've already worked on this thing a little bit when I first brought it home. I needed I got to run off a spray, but it needed a fuel pump. So I put a fuel pump in it, and then that's pretty much where I left off, and I couldn't get it to run after that. So I'm gonna get the thing loaded up in the trailer, bring it back to my house, because this is just my other property that I like to use for, extra storage. But we'll get it back over home by the garage and see if we can get this thing running again. Like I said, we're going to be replacing the fuel pump in it. I got it almost all hooked back up. The car really needs to be cleaned out. Some of the dash panels are off for some reason. I don't really know why. I don't really have much info on the car as to why it was sitting for so long. Pretty much all the guy told me was he bought it from his buddy down in New York City, brought it home up here to upstate New York, and it pretty much just sat. He never did anything with it. So now here we are trying to get it running and driving. And so I got the new fuel pump in, and I confirmed that it does work. It's getting fuel now, but I just noticed there ain't no fuel line hooked to the motor. So luckily I got a old car over there I can rob a piece of hose off of, get that thing put on there, and put some clamps on it, and we'll see if this thing see if it runs. So I tried to steal a hose off of that Trans Am over there to make work with this, but it was way too big. I dug through the trunk and I actually found the original fuel filter that was on this thing. So I'm gonna get this thing hooked up and see if she runs. Car's all loaded up now. I gotta take it on home, see if we can get this thing running. I got all the snow cleaned off it so you can get a better look at it. I wouldn't say it's in the greatest of shape, but I mean, it was free, so I can't really complain. The interior definitely needs good cleaning. Some of the pieces are off the dash, but he has the replacements for it. This is just a 2-seater. It's not the doesn't have the back seat in it. If we get it running, this thing's definitely gonna need some tires. They're pretty smoked. They don't really hold air for more than probably, I don't know, like an hour or so. I mean, it might be enough just to drive down the road to see what happens, but definitely gonna have to get some new tires on it. But I'm gonna throw a battery in it and see what happens. Like I said, it did run before on spray, so hopefully now with a fuel pump and a fresh battery, it should fire right up. Well, it's getting better. The whole entire time I had my foot all the way to the floor, and it started raising up in RPMs. I let off a little bit, and then I got back into it. Then I let off enough, and then it dropped back down. I couldn't get it back up again, but it runs. I definitely think it's something to do with clogged injectors. I think the injection cleaner is finally working through there to break up whatever's in there. So I'm gonna keep on doing that, and hopefully the thing will run good enough. Right now I have a pipe wedged against the throttle, keeping it at about like almost 2,500 RPMs. Right there. About 3,000 RPMs now, I raised it up. Just trying to see if it'll, with the higher RPMs, it'll clean out whatever's in there. And hopefully it'll start running a little better. Well, I lowered the idle down to about 1,500 RPMs. I'm just gonna let this thing sit here and run pretty much. Might let it run an hour or two, see if the thing cleans up a bit. It stinks like bad gas still, so I think it's still trying to burn through whatever's stuck in those injectors and probably whatever those spark plugs were trying to burn up. This thing turns out to be eventually running pretty good. I'll probably throw a new set of plugs in it. It'll probably help a lot, honestly. And then we'll try to air up these tires and see if it goes into gear and drives down the road. I do know for a fact the brakes work because when I loaded it up the first time on my trailer, I used the brakes and I rolled it off. So I know they work and there's no blown lines or nothing yet. So as long as the thing goes in gear and the tire's holding up air, we should be able to take down the road and see what happens. So I got all the tires aired up now. I can hear them, they're actively leaking. They're actually pretty bad. So it might be just enough for me to get it off the trailer. I'm not too sure if we're gonna be able to drive it around just yet, but we'll see if it even drives off the trailer to begin with. Well, it drove off the trailer, but it still won't idle by itself. I still have the jack handle there on it to keep it idling. I'm gonna move it somewhere in the yard and pretty much just let the thing run and hopefully it cleans itself out. Also, earlier I mentioned this thing was sitting for 10 years is what I thought it was, but you probably can't see it here, but this inspection sticker ran out in 08. So this thing has been sitting for, what is that, 17 years? So, I mean, I don't think it's too bad for sitting 17 years. It went in gear and moved just fine, forward and reverse. I had to back it up first to unhook the chain, and then I drove it off. I mean, my foot was to the floor to get it to drive off, but it did it. So that's got to count for something, I guess. I did find a set of tires on a marketplace for this thing to put on these wheels for $100. So I'm gonna try to run and get those things today. They probably won't be on for this video, but they'll be on for the next video on this car at least. Well, the car runs and moves. It almost made it to its spot, but it's currently stuck in the ice. I'll get it pushed over there a little later. It is starting to rain now, so I'm gonna be done working on this thing for today. I do have to go get those tires still for this thing, just so they can, you know, hold air so I can move it around. It is still running a little rough. I have to take the injectors out, I think, and clean them up and see what happens there. And the motor's making a little bit of a rattling noise at lower RPMs. I'm not too concerned about it because it does have oil pressure and it goes away once you rev it up a little bit. I think I really just need to get those injectors cleaned out, put a new set of plugs in it, and maybe even change that fuel filter because I don't know if it's plugged or not. I did blow it out once before, but it could be plugged again. It still smells really bad, like bad gas, even though all the gas I put in it is all fresh gas. So I will eventually put some more fresh gas in it, some more fuel injector cleaner. So anyways, that's gonna be it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.